Our responsorial psalm today said, "Your words, O Lord, are spirit and life." And today I want to speak to you on behalf of respect for life, especially in this week that we recognize the anniversary of Roe v Wade. And our readings today speak of a great gift of God's law as we're standing and reading from the Pentateuch and treasuring God's law. The precepts of the Lord, in our psalm says, are good, they are right and true, and God knows what is best for us. Our late great Saint Pope John Paul II, stressed this throughout his pontificate, that freedom against the modern world is a false freedom. He said that the modern man thinks that real freedom is the ability to do whatever he wants. Real freedom, however, comes from the ability, he said, to do what we ought to do. Real freedom is not the capacity to play God but it is to act in accordance with the way that God made us. It's not the ability to do wrong, because doing wrong is always a form of slavery. Since that 1973 Supreme Court decision of Roe v Wade, almost 61 million children have perished in our country alone. And that's about 1 in every 23 seconds. Real freedom can only be based on the truth. And that's what Jesus came. The truth is what sets us free. And in the truth, it is the unborn child in the mother's womb that's made in the image and likeness of God. Psalm 139 is very clear about that. In the secret of darkness, before I saw the sun, you formed me. Saint Mother Teresa of Calcutta, she talked about this false sense of freedom and its consequence in her address at the National Prayer Breakfast in 1994. And she was in the presence of the President and Vice President, all of whom at that time did support abortion on demand. And she fearlessly pointed out the link between freedom and responsibility, freedom and love, and false freedom that leads to the lack of peace in our world today. And believe me, she really did not mince any words when she said that the greatest destroyer of peace today is abortion. So when we talk about respect for all life, I guess it begins with abortion. We better start there, because we're not going to be able to, it's going to be a downhill slide from there. And she said that it's because it's a war against the child. It's a direct killing of an innocent child, murdered by her mother herself. And if we accept that a mother can kill even her own child, how can we tell other people not to kill one another? She went on and she said, by abortion, the mother does not learn to love, but kills even her own child to solve her own problems. And then by abortion, she went on to say that the father is told that he doesn't have to take responsibility at all for the actions that he has been a part of. And that very next year, Mother Teresa went to a hospital in Boston, Massachusetts, and she went to the sick children's ward, and she picked up a child, a sick infant, and she went out into the streets where the television cameras were there, and she said slowly and deliberately, Jesus said that whoever receives this little child receives me. Our second reading today calls us, each one of us, to be, we all have a part to play in this battle for life. We are many parts. We are one body. One part is not less significant than the other part. We must work together. So where do we begin? And the first thing I would say is that we need to pray and sacrifice, possibly by offering a day of fast for the women who are being tempted by false prophets to have an abortion. And pray for the conversion of doctors and nurses who do this work. And pray and sacrifice for the conversion of legislators, executives, and judges who promote abortion. The second thing is that we need to tell the young women that you know in your life that if they ever do find themselves in a difficult pregnancy, that you will support them and help them choose life. Moms and dads, please, when you are explaining to your sons and daughters about the birds and bees and the importance of remaining faithful to their spouse in marriage and saving themselves for marriage, please also tell them that if they do happen to sin and it leads to a pregnancy, that you will never be ashamed of them, and that you will always love them and support them. And you will support and love your new grandson or granddaughter. And the third, please live out your pro-life convictions. Get involved. There's many ways that you can get involved. There's the Women's Care Center, a Catholic pregnancy resource that we've heard from at this pulpit with Susan Gurnetzky. She's talked about her involvement with that and how she supports women. There's the Greater Columbus Right to Life. There's hotlines that you can get on that helps women that are really searching for another voice. There's the Knights of Columbus here at St. Matthew, and all the Knights of Columbus are very supportive. There's the rosary that you can pray. You might be called to even pray outside one of the abortion clinics. So maybe, you don't feel like you've done a lot, but respecting life at all its stages is how we get involved. Pray about what your part might be. Our Lord Jesus came to give glad tidings to the poor, to proclaim liberty to the captives and recovery of sight to the blind. That's what we heard today in our gospel. To let the oppressed go free and to proclaim a year acceptable to the Lord. So as we prepare to receive him now, let us ask him how we can join in this fight to promote life and the dignity of life.